We all have these things we want to change. Eat healthier, exercise more, maybe read a book every single day. But why is it so ridiculously hard to make those changes actually stick? Well, it turns out we might be going about it all wrong. Let's dive into a completely different way to think about building habits that last.
So tell me if this sounds familiar. You set a brand new goal, you're super motivated for a few days, maybe a week if you're lucky, and then, poof, somehow you're right back where you started. It's like you're in this constant losing battle with yourself, right?
And that is the really frustrating part, isn't it? It's this vicious cycle where the bad habits just seem to show up again and again. You try, you fail, you feel discouraged, and that old habit just digs its heels in even deeper. So of course, when this happens, where do we point the finger? Right back at ourselves. We think, I just don't have enough willpower, or I'm just not motivated enough. We automatically assume that we are the problem. But what if that's not true at all?
Okay, but this idea, it just flips the whole script. It says that if you're having trouble changing, the problem isn't some personal failing. It's not about your desire. The problem is the method you're using. Get this, it's not you, it's your system. And that is a huge mental shift.
So here's the thing. Your ambition, your desire to get better, that's perfectly fine. That's not the problem at all. What needs to change is the blueprint you're following. You just need a smarter, better approach to the whole thing.
All right, so that leads us right into the core idea of this entire framework, really understanding the crucial difference between a goal and a system. They might sound kind of similar, but trust me, they operate in completely different ways.
So let's really break this down. A goal, that's the result you're after. Think, run a marathon or write a book. But a system, that's the process that gets you there. That's the run 3 times a week or the write 500 words every single day. You see, goals are like a temporary finish line. Once you cross it, what happens to your motivation? It can just disappear. Systems, on the other hand, they're continuous. They're the engine that actually delivers the results over and over again.
And this quote, man, this is really the heart of the whole thing. It's such a powerful and humbling idea. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Your system is your safety net. It's what you default to, day in and day out, no matter how motivated you feel.
Okay, so if systems are the secret sauce, then what are they actually made of? Well, they're built from something called atomic habits. So let's unpack what that term really means.
Now, this definition is so important because an atomic habit is really 2 things at the same time. First, it's tiny. I mean, small and super easy to do, which gets rid of all that friction that usually stops us from even starting. But second, and this is the key, it's also a source of incredible power. So it's not just small, it's also mighty.
And this is where the name atomic is just so brilliant, right? Because it has this double meaning. In one sense, atomic means incredibly small, like an actual atom, a tiny 1% improvement. But in another sense, atomic means it's a fundamental unit, a building block for something much, much bigger. It's one small piece of a larger system.
I absolutely love this metaphor because it makes the whole concept crystal clear. You can't see a single atom, right? And you're probably not going to notice the effect of doing one tiny habit one time. But when you combine them, they build and build until they form something substantial and visible. Truly remarkable results. So, the big question is, how do these tiny, almost invisible actions actually lead to massive change? Well, the answer is one of the most powerful forces in the universe. It's all about compounding. When you first start out, doing just one push-up or reading a single page, it feels kind of pointless, right? You don't see any immediate change, there's no instant gratification, and honestly, this is the exact moment where most people give up.
But, and this is the magic part, if you just stick with it, something incredible starts to happen. Those tiny routines start to build on each other. That one push-up becomes 10, that one page becomes a whole chapter. They create their own momentum, fueling bigger and bigger wins that multiply way beyond the tiny effort you started with. That right there is the power of compounding in action. So look, if there's just one thing you take away from all this, let it be this thought right here. Every little choice you make, every tiny habit you perform, it's like a fundamental atom that contributes to the person you are. These are the invisible forces that are shaping your entire life.
So I want to leave you with a question to chew on. Don't think about the massive, overwhelming goal for a second. Instead, just ask yourself this. What's one tiny, almost laughably easy action you could take today that could be the very first building block for the person you really want to become?